immediate reaction when I hear this question, how is your heart? My immediate answer is tired. I feel like we don't talk about money on the internet, and I don't understand why. I'm over the fake. I'm over trying to make everything cookie cutter. I'm over it. I just want to be real and raw. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to this week's video. I'm just gonna do a coffee chat with you. So I've got my pumpkin pie iced coffee. It is a beautiful fall day and Jordan is napping, Michael's watching football, Ellie is napping, and I just really have this itch to sit down and talk with you. Are you good? My goal for this video is for it to kind of feel like you're listening to a podcast. Grab a cup of coffee or your beverage of choice and let's catch up. I actually did a Q&A on Instagram a little bit ago. If you don't follow me, my Instagram is elementarywithemma. You should totally follow me. There were some questions that I got asked that I thought were really good questions that I felt like I couldn't give justice to by just like answering in a question box on an Instagram story. And so I screenshotted some of those to guide my discussions and kind of like keep me focused. You know, life and social media can just be so surface level and it's such a waste of time. Not to jump right in the deep end, but like life is a waste if you don't go below the surface with people. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like social media and these platforms that I've been gifted are a waste if all that I do is post aesthetic content and morning routines. Like that's not life. I don't know. That's just how I've been feeling lately. Like I'm over the fake. I'm over trying to make everything cookie cutter. I'm over it. I just want to be real and raw. Why is Jordan standing up in her crib? I feel like I should give like a quick little update. Felt like everything I filmed in the last month or two has been related to buying the house, selling the house, packing the house, and moving into this house. Like I have just been consumed mentally, physically, social media wise by this move. I don't even know how long it's been since we've lived here. It's only been a few weeks. It feels like a long time just because each day is packed full from sunrise to the minute we close our eyes at night. I was gonna say sundown, but way past sundown, with just so many things. But it obviously takes a while to make a house feel like a home, and I feel like that's where we're at right now. Is we're just wrapping up painting, which is such a blessing that we've already gotten almost the whole house painted. However, that's like all that we've done. It's just hard to make it feel like home. I've really felt this like homesickness for our old home. It's just been hard to like suddenly feel like this is home when it just doesn't yet. We're still adjusting. I am, at least. I think Michael is completely fine. I talked about this in a vlog a couple weeks ago about how like I get so attached to places, and so it just takes me a little bit to adjust. Like every day I wake up and I am excited to be here. It just is still, we're still working on making it feel like our home, you know? Oh, the next update. Michael got COVID. Last week he tested positive, and I just have to give glory to God, because if he had gotten COVID, he first of all has gone this entire pandemic, has never gotten it. I had it in 2020. Jordan had it this spring or summer. It was summer, if you remember all of that. And then Michael has never had it, but he just got it a week ago. Praise the Lord, he was able to completely quarantine from us in the basement. If we lived in our old home, it would have just been a petri dish, and Jordan and I for sure would have gotten it. But because it happened literally right after we moved in, which was totally a God thing. It's just funny how like even bad things he can work out for his good and like for our good. Jordan and I are completely fine. We still don't have it. We're still healthy, and he's officially negative and out of quarantine now. So I mean, it like was not fun, but also if it had to happen, it couldn't have been at a better time. Yeah, that's like an update on all of the things that have happened, I guess, in the last few weeks that I haven't got to share. Now I'm gonna kind of get into the questions, and that will kind of like guide the rest of my conversation. So kind of speaking about the house, and then I promise I will quit talking about the house. How did you save money for this new house was a question that I got a couple times, and I wanted to touch on this because I feel like it's really important to be transparent with you. This house is obviously a big step up from where we were before. We went from a 900 square foot house to a 3,000 square foot house. So like obviously that's a step up. However, we knew that this was going to be our forever home. We knew that the next move for us was going to be a big one because we wanted to invest. This was a big deal for us too, and I don't want to undersell it and be like, oh yeah, it's just like this decent house. Like, we are aware this is a beautiful house. This is a pretty big house, especially compared to what we had. And so obviously this did not have the same price tag that our old house did. So I got questions on like, how'd you save up for a house? How do you afford that on a teacher's salary? And I wanted to just talk about it because I feel like we don't talk about money on the internet, and I don't understand why. First of all, y'all helped us buy this house. My income from social media is the biggest blessing, because when I get paid from YouTube, I get paid from ads, Google AdSense, and I also do brand deals. And those two, when I get paid from either of those streams of income, I have it set up so that I get that deposited into our savings account. That money every month that I get paid just goes right into that savings, and we don't touch it. So just to be honest with you, that's how we've built up our savings to have a down payment for a house and all those things, because I've been doing YouTube for 2 years now, and for 2 years now, that paycheck every month has just immediately gone away, and we try not to touch it. Obviously things come up, but so thank you for watching my videos. Thank you for supporting us in that way. That was never my goal or intention with this channel, and it still isn't. It's just like an added bonus. It's just been a gift for us. So that was part of the way that we saved up. But in terms of like on a teacher's salary, could I have afforded this house just on my teacher's salary? No. I also have a husband, you have to keep in mind, who has a much better paying job than I do. He's a nurse manager. I actually listened to a podcast this morning. It was from the Handlebar podcast. I've referenced them lately. I have been so blessed by that podcast lately. I will link the one I listened to down below. I listened to it this morning, and it was all about money. That was not intentional. It just kind of was the next episode, and it was so good, and they perfectly explained my views on our finances and how I don't view my money as my money, and Michael would say the same. We view our finances as like it's not our money, it's God's money. I just cannot recommend it enough. If you are anxious about money, if you hold really tightly to your money, if money is something that just causes a lot of stress for you, I cannot recommend going to listen to that specific episode of that podcast enough. It was so good, and they just worded it so perfectly. Like, my perspective and my mindset on money is so similar to what they said. How is your heart? I love that question. How is your heart with school, moving, being a mom, the world, etc.? My first response my immediate reaction when I hear this question, how is your heart? My immediate answer is tired. So let's unpack that. This is the analogy I gave my therapist. You know, when you're coming in from the store and you have like 10 bags filling your arms, you know, and you're trying to do it all in one trip. And the worst thing ever is when you're coming inside and you have all these bags on your arms and you're carrying all these things, and then you drop something. So then you bend over, and then you drop 2 other things. And then you try to bend over to pick that up, and then your purse falls off your arm. Do you know what I'm talking about? It is the most infuriating feeling. And then you end up dropping more because you tried to carry it all than if you would have just like taken 2 trips. I explained to my therapist that that is exactly how my life feels right now. My life feels like I have 30 grocery bags on my shoulders, and I keep dropping things, and I try to pick it up, and then I drop 4 more things along the way, and I just can't seem to carry it all. The move is obviously stressful, but more than that, like just balancing YouTube, motherhood, teaching, being a wife, being a daughter, being a friend, just taking care of myself, going to therapy, like housework, moving, all of the things that just are life things, just feels like a lot. And I am tired, and it feels like I am just kind of doing all of them mediocre. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't have the time and the energy and the mental capacity to invest into all those things the way that I want to. I don't think I'm doing any of them very well. And I'm sharing this in hopes that like somebody else can relate, because it just sometimes is really hard to feel like you're not doing your jobs well. Like, not just even my actual job, which is a whole nother story, because I don't feel like I'm doing my job very well. I don't feel like I'm being a very good teacher, but I also don't feel like I'm being a very good wife, and I don't feel like I'm being a very good friend. I don't know. It's just been this like battle of constantly trying to juggle everything. Yeah, I've got no like encouragement, no advice. It's just how I've been doing. If you have been in the same like similar season, I would love to hear from you. I don't know, it might be the time of year too with school. Like, this is just a very busy time of year, and I just feel like my mind is always running 1,000 miles per second and I cannot slow it down. Like I just, oh, this is a good next question that I wanted to talk about. This person said, I feel like I need therapy, but that means that I have to admit something is wrong with me. You said this to the right person, because that was me for years. I guess this is a super real and raw coffee chat, so we'll go into it a little bit. I started going to therapy. I've talked about this several times. I'm very open about it because I am advocating so hard that if you need to go to therapy or even think you might need to go to therapy, go. I needed therapy for a while. I just didn't really realize it, and I also was just in denial. I was being very stubborn. I was being very cocky and just like couldn't humble myself enough to go. But I have battled with mental health issues since my freshman year of college. I don't know if I've shared this. I might have shared this before, I might not have, but I look back at freshman year of college me who was depressed and just learning what that meant and confused about why I felt this way, what was wrong with me. Like my life on the outside looked perfect. This was so selfish of me to feel depressed, all these things that I so wish I could just go back and give her a hug and tell her, go seek help, because I didn't really share it with anybody that was even around me. I definitely didn't share it with like a therapist. My motto for my whole life pretty much is just bottle it up. Nobody needs to know. Nobody needs to carry that burden. Not that nobody cares, but that I almost worried that people would care too much and then they would carry my burdens, and I never wanted that to be the case. So I just carried it. And when you don't let it go and you don't share with somebody, whether it's a friend or a therapist or a mentor or whatever it is, you carry that load twice over. Like you carry double the weight of what it is when you bottle it inside and you don't share. I cannot recommend it enough. I wish that I would have gone so much sooner in life, because I feel like I'm backtracking throughout my whole life, like unpacking these events and these things that I have battled for 25 years that I wish I would have battled years ago and like unpacked and worked through. I always felt like I didn't have a good enough reason to go to therapy. Like I'm probably not really that anxious, or I'm probably not really depressed. Like I'm probably just being dramatic. Let me tell you, I was not being dramatic. First of all, it took like the most traumatizing moment of my life that brought me severe anxiety and depression, severe PTSD, which was my birth with Jordan. And it took me until, I don't know when I started going to therapy, March, April maybe. But my point is, don't wait until there's this big thing that's like obvious in front of you to go. If you think you need to go, you probably do. That is by far the hardest part. It was the hardest part for me, was that very first step. Every step of the way has been significantly easier, but that very first step was absolutely the hardest. I think I need to stop on that one, or this video is going to be an hour. What is your favorite part of being a mom? Ellie, you're so cute. I love everything about being a mom, and I don't say that in a cliche way. I truly mean that. Even the hard parts I love. I feel like this is what I was created to do. I think it is so cool that I get a front row seat to somebody's whole life. It's just so inspiring to like look at Jordan and think about what she can do, and that I get to like raise her and make her an empathetic human and make her compassionate and help her walk with the Lord and all these things. Like, what an honor. It is the best thing in the whole entire world. Okay, I think this is going to be my last question because I'm a little worried this video is going to be super long. The last question is my favorite. Y'all know I love this question, and it's, what is God teaching you right now? So many things, but something that I have been really aware of the last, I don't even know how long, is the time that I spend with him. I mean, I was just talking to you about time and how I feel so stretched thin sometimes, and it feels like there is just never enough hours in the day to get everything done and also still get rest. And that includes my God time. Like, it just sometimes is really hard to have the time that I would like to devote my morning drive to school, spending it in worship music, or throughout my day just constantly like in communication and praying, having my first response be prayer rather than gossip, or just like shifting the way that I view every little moment in my day to reflect back to him rather than living my normal life and then chunking out like 15 minutes for God time and then like the rest is me time, you know? Trying to just live my days with him intertwined in every second, in every moment. Whatever it is, just finding the Lord in all of those moments and being very aware of his presence, being very aware of the power of prayer and constantly just talking with him. And I feel like I have felt closer to the Lord in that way by doing those things rather than if I chunked out 15 minutes to read my Bible every morning, because it's just more constant. Another thing that is not new, I feel like I might have talked about this before, but just with how I have kind of shifted my social medias, I just have been feeling so convicted the last several months in using my social media to share my faith a lot more. The thing is my faith has always been there. I have been asked to film like a testimony video, and maybe I would do that. My point was, I've just been feeling very convicted on why wouldn't I share my faith and my number one priority in life in my content, because it's always been a part of my life. It's always been intertwined in what I do and how I think and how I act. But it hasn't always been something that I have openly shared on the internet, and it just feels silly not to. So he's just been kind of shifting that perspective for me as well. Honestly, since this summer, just like, you have this platform that I have gifted you, why aren't you using it? You know, like, why are you kind of hiding that part of your life? So I have decided not to. That feels so much more like me than trying to give you like teacher hacks or like back to school tips or lesson plans or things like that, because that's great, but that's just like 8 hours of my day. That is not who I am. That is not what is in my soul and my spirit and what I believe and the way I'm raising my family and all those things. So anyways, that's just been another big thing on my mind a lot. Every time I film, I try to be a light and I try to spread joy. Yeah, I'm gonna stop blabbing now, I think, and go watch football with Michael. But thank you so much for watching this very chatty video. If you made it all the way to the end, I would love for you to leave me a comment down below and let me know if I can be praying for you in any way. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for supporting me and just like caring enough to listen to this whole video of me just literally sit and talk to myself. So I appreciate you, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, friends.